Alright, everybody, we're here to review WWE RAW.
I'm gonna give it to you.
We're gonna give it to you RAW, yeah. So, you know what? This wasn't... I'm looking at my notes here, and this wasn't that bad of a show. I actually have more positives than I kind of feel like I had. Which is pretty interesting. So, just a couple of news. Talking Smack's been canceled. That's a bit of a bummer. I enjoyed that show.
I didn't really ever watch it. Whenever I did watch it, it usually had Kevin Owens bursting onto things, and then it got really hostile and awkward, and I just basically turned it off after that.
I can't say I have the same negative opinion, but if it's not drawing ratings, it's not drawing ratings. That's just really all there's.
Apparently it was. Apparently Vince
was?
Ratings was not a problem.
Oh, what did they give as the reason?
Vince hates it.
Wow. Well, that's less impressive.
Vince didn't write all the script for everything because it's not scripted, so he hates it.
I had heard that the ratings were not good, but I don't know. Could be either. This is a sad thing. This is a sad thing about this company is that I get a completely plausible explanation of ratings are low, and then I get an explanation that Vince just hated it, and I'm almost inclined to go with the Vince storyline.
That's apparently, it's noted, factually noted, all the ratings were never out of the top 10, or at least not out of the top 15 on a slow week.
Wait a minute. Do they have 15 programs?
Apparently they've got more than 25.
That's okay. There's apparently a lot of stuff I'm not aware of.
Well, I don't know if it's so much shows, but there's a lot of people going on. Apparently, I don't have first-hand knowledge of this, but apparently the wide majority of usage of the network is just watching replays of old things.
Oh, yeah.
So, if, 100,000 people watch one pay-per-view, then it shoots way up in the rankings.
Gotcha.
So, that's part of what that is.
I gotcha. Okay. So not necessarily new content, just old content as well.
Exactly, yeah. So
Alright, so we're going to do something new. And this is Byron's baby child, so he can take all the credit for it. We're just going to kind of go through, good stuff and then bad stuff. And if we feel like touching on things that didn't fit into either category, we will.
Yeah, I just thought it was... A lot of people do, for instance, Stephen Larson, do a literal kind of blow-by-blow of every single show. So... Or at least the vast majority of every single show. So I just thought it would be kind of serving our time better and maybe putting a different perspective on things to just kind of go over, maybe not so much the highlights, but just sort of classifying things rather than going step by step through everything. Because I'm assuming anybody listening to this has already seen Raw and or SmackDown and or whatever.
I would imagine so. This is true. I still am going to go through mine in a chronological fashion, just kind of segmenting it into good, bad, and other. So,
we're already failing at this concept.
You want to open up, or shall I open up?
Well, if we're going to go into the good category, I can't really point to anything other than I really liked the Enzo promo, and I like that whole segment. I like that. I like the Enzo promo. Big Cass coming down was. I mean, he didn't really add much to the party, but it was, the whole thing was very well orchestrated, where he basically antagonized the shit out of Cass. Cass comes down and is like, listen, I'm just going to have to beat the shit out of you one more time. And then Enzo just kind of guess what? That's not what's happening now. And then the Big Show comes out and there's a match.
Technically, it wasn't a match because there was no rap.
Well,
but,
yeah, no.
A beat-down segment.
There was a confrontation. I liked that whole scenario. They're still doing it wrong. I mean, all they're doing is trying to put Cass over Big, which isn't working for anybody. So they're still doing it wrong. But I did like the segment. I liked the concept. I liked the orchestration thereof.
I definitely had that in the negative, to be honest. I like things about it, to be clear. I like the Enzo promo. I like his delivery. I like even the content. Pretty good. The problem is that this is a storyline that should be dead, basically. because of the way they've handled it. Like, you're not interested in seeing Enzo face Cass in a match again, because the first one was a one-sided beating. And at this point, I don't even really want to see Cass versus the Big Show, because Big Show came out to take on an unprepared man. Mm-hmm. And after, don't get me wrong, the brawling stuff on the outside was actually very good. It was a good way, good use of those two guys' skills and hiding their flaws. Dare I say Heyman-esque booking. But when you get right down to it, I mean, Cass winds up beating them both down, and I'm not interested in seeing this feud anymore.
Yeah, they totally
it's not the blow-off.
They totally booked it wrong, but I still want to see Enzo basically continue to antagonize Cass. That's literally the entire thing that I want to see, and they're doing it, so that's what I like.
I don't. Now, to be clear, in a perfect world, I want to see this. I want to see Psycho Cass, basically. I want to see him driven insane to a large degree, to be made into like a sociopath kind of killer character. The problem is that I know where this is going, and that's not it. And they've also botched trying to book it that way, because if you wanted to do that, I would have had Enzo win at Great Balls of Fire. Complete fluke, don't get me wrong. I don't have Enzo win, in a particularly legitimate fashion, because he's, we've been through this. He's not necessarily a very good worker. He's honestly kind of a dangerous bumper. And he's also a lot smaller than Cass, so you couldn't really pull off him winning clean or anything. But, having even like a Cass DQ, and then coming out the next week and being like, you couldn't beat me, you couldn't keep me from getting up, you needed that, insert whatever he got DQ'd for, steel chair shots, putting him through a table, whatever the case may be, and continue it from there. But they basically had the blow off at Great Balls of Fire, because I'm not interested in seeing a match between the two. I'm not interested in seeing Big Show face off again. So I'm not really even interested in seeing him, be a yapping dog. And I say this as someone who really enjoys Enzo's work on the mic. I have various reservations about him in the ring. But outside the ring, fucking dynamite talent and a perfect manager, if they would just use him as such. The problem is they've they've just botched this. It's just horrible booking all around on what could have been a very good angle.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. It doesn't bother me as much because Enzo's so goddamn good on the mic. For me, he's still over for me. I'm not annoyed with it. I would continue to, for me, again, I would love to see him just continue to antagonize the shit out of Cass. The problem is that they're booking it wrong, and I'm not getting...
reaction is just so tepid.
Flat. Yeah, he's just flat. I guess that he's going to the Randy Orton School of Intensity, which means that you look like you're having a nap 90% of the time. Which is not... Because he's got really good facial expressions. He looks curious really well. He looks actually, happy. He conveys a lot of positive emotions very well. It's just that this new mean thing isn't working.
He's not good. Yeah, he's not good at being per se mean.
I assume he'll get there, but it's not working right now, and therefore they've done they pulled the trigger too early on this.
I think to a degree I don't think he understands what his character's motivation is supposed to be. Probably because I don't think the writers understand what his character's motivation is to be.
Yeah,
because he did very well when he was cutting the promo about how annoying Enzo was. Because there's a kernel of truth to that. It works. Enzo is annoying. Enzo is writing checks his body cannot cash. Now, I don't really know what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, but I still liked the segment, so there you go. The only other thing I can point to in the good column is the segment with Kurt Angle. I really, you didn't get much, but what you got sold a lot, and the two guys really sold the emotion of the segment very well, and that's really all they. I was also happy with the fact that that's all they were going to do. We didn't need. I mean, I know Vince probably wanted Jason Jordan to come out and do an immediate heel turn and totally fuck his character up, and then just kind of flounder away and then get fired. That's Vince's goal for every piece of talent, apparently. But I enjoyed the let's say the limited interaction. They didn't try and overdo things. They didn't try to go too far. They did just enough to make me want to know more and watch more.
I agree with pretty much all of that. I didn't put this in my good column because I feel like this, in order to be good, I need to see what happens next week and then for like a couple of weeks, and then I'll kind of like know if it's really good. It's a setup piece, and for it to be good, the follow-up needs to be good, and I'm never willing to assume that that's the case.
I would disagree as a setup, but I'm just judging this piece as this piece.
And I'm not disagreeing with you on that matter.
They will
I'm
fuck
just
it
saying.
up. I know they're going to fuck it up. You don't have to remind me they're going to fuck it up. But for what they did today, this was good.
I just didn't think that there was quite enough for me to call it good or bad.
And I think that because they didn't do enough, it is good.
Which, and I don't get me wrong, like, I wouldn't have even done any more, because it's an intro piece. It's not supposed to make me, like, the big shock reveal is your impetus for doing this. You know, Jason Jordan is Kurt Angle's kid, which, I called it! Yeah! So I'm positive on that, but I'm kind of reserving reaction. But I don't disagree with anything you said.
Fine. And that's pretty much it for the good column. The rest of the show was meh or not good for my particular
I had
taste.
a couple of other good things. I enjoyed the Joe hype package, and enjoyed the Joe pre-match promo.
Skipped it.
Which I thought, I really liked it. Like, talking about the promo, the package is just, that's quality editing, whatever. Things that WWE should do well. But the promo itself, Joe does an amazing job being intelligent, yet very intense. And that doesn't sound like it should be a big plus. It really doesn't. Even listening to myself say it, I'm like, oh man, that should be a given. But the truth is that WWE has been terrible with creating intense characters. We just talked about it with Cass, and we basically hinted at it with Randy Orton.
Orton's so boring.
Yeah, the fact that Joe makes me believe he's intense, makes me believe that he's very invested in this, while giving me a calm, like a kind of cold calmness to his promo that still is very good. So that got 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I can dig on that. I'm going to say the same thing a lot, and that's seen it before, heard it before, seen it before. WWE is just, recycling things until, I guess, Royal Rumble, I guess. Joe is amazing. Joe is great. Joe does fantastic promos, but I've heard that promo before. And that's not to lessen the quality of this promo. It's just that it was very easy for me to just kind of tune out.
Yeah, it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything new that was good.
Yeah,
it was. This has worked in the past. Do it again.
Yeah. So the quality is totally there. But once you've had like 17 steaks in a row, it's just another hunk of meat you got to chew through.
Ooh, that's harsh. I would love 17 steaks in a roll.
You would.
Other than that, I enjoyed the Joe Roman match. I hated the ending part of it, so we'll be talking about that in the negative column. Yeah,
it was okay. Again, there were some spots like the drive-by interception.
Oh, that was my favorite part.
That was very good. And then the rest of it was just kind of good. I didn't really, again, my personal opinion, seen it before. I've seen Joe have this kind of match.
I thought they did some new things with it, at least. It didn't feel like their 2 prior matches, but it did, I suppose, feel like a typical Samoa Joe match. It's just that he hasn't really had that match with Roman, which meant it did hold it held to a degree my attention. And that's, to be honest, all I can ask from a Raw match at this point, it seems, because this, well, case in point, I don't really have any other matches to put in the plus side here.
Yeah, and I really wasn't looking to fill any particular category. It would just kind of, the chips kind of fell where they were. But I've seen Samoa Joe have this match before, and I've seen Roman Reigns have this match before. It just happens that this time they're having it together. And that's very, very typical of WWE booking, is that, I mean, case in point, Razor Ramon. Never besmirch the name of Razor Ramon. Rey Mysterio only ever had one match in the entirety of his career with the WWE. He had to have that match every single night with every single opponent, except when he was fighting really, really big guys, and then he had his second other match, or like match 1B.
I'd say he had some interesting stuff with Eddie Guerrero over the course of their feud.
That doesn't count. Eddie Guerrero was different. Rare and special human.
Oh, well, for sure. But, I put the credit on that. Probably Eddie Guerrero said, "Listen, we're doing this."
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, everybody in the WWE for the last probably 20 years has only ever had one match, and it just happens that sometimes they have that match with other people. It's usually quite boring, and in this point, it with this particular mixture, it wasn't that boring, but it really didn't get me excited other than for maybe 3 or 4 different spots.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wasn't I got done watching this match and didn't think, I really need another Roman Reigns Samoa Joe match. No, I mean, this match actually probably had the opposite effect, where I went, I think I've probably seen everything these two are actually going to do.
Yeah.
What I was left wanting from the first 2 matches, was probably here, and that is a downside, but baby steps, I guess. This is what I'm saying. Aside from that, I have nothing wholly positive. I have some good things to say about segments that otherwise are meh or bad. So let's roll on to the bad. What you got for me?
Commentary. Commentary's bad. Commentary was bad all night.
Commentary was bad just on a level of getting their words right. The ability to read a script was lacking.
So there's the general competence of pronouncing words. They also decided to do the idiot heel fucking thing again. Oh, cheap shot. What do you mean cheap shot? What do you mean call? What's a cheap shot call? Huh?
Yeah, I hate when they do that.
Christ.
And I hate the reverse when Cole's trying to explain that it wasn't a cheap shot for some reason. Yeah.
So, and then we got Booker T, who's apparently the newest Alzheimer's patient, who he's the new it's Booker O'Clock, and Booker will just say ridiculous things in an enthusiastic voice, and then somebody will go, no, Booker, no.
Yeah, Booker is making me wish David Otunga would come back, and that
at least he's bland.
That is not good. Oh, that is not good. I freaking hated David Otunga's work.
Yeah, and Booker T being the guilty party of the... I don't know if he's taking a dump, or if somebody's, punching him right in the butthole all night, but it's not an appropriate sound to be making at any kind of juncture at all. So, yeah, commentary was just bland, predictable, offensive, wrong, insulting, just not good. I guess Vince was probably backstage tonight.
Yeah, I can deal with Michael Cole. Corey Graves is actually good, although not always. He's definitely suffering from the WWE raw-itis.
Yep.
And yeah, I need Booker T off my commentary now, unless he's going to just go back to being Black Snow. That's the only way that this will work.
The one positive I can point to is that they keep pointing to Corey Graves in a at least semi-subtle fashion of being this guy who has connections and this guy who may have a future doing something not commentary. So there's hope that Graves will be like the leader of a faction or something like that.
Okay. Moving on to my negative list. Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. The match was okay. I didn't necessarily have a problem with the match in any way. Decent moves, decent psychology. But I hate the ending in so many ways because the burial of Bayley just kind of continues. Like, and someone out there is saying, "Wait, she won." I'm like, she did win, but she won because Sasha Banks came out and brawled with Nia Jax to create a distraction that she used to roll up Alexa Bliss. Bliss did at least kick out, but then hit a belly to Bayley for the win. You could have had this match be almost the same. Have Jax come out to be, do the heel spots with Alexa Bliss. Have Banks come out to chase off Jax. And then kind of have the match resume for 3.5 minutes. Let Bayley get the upper hand and actually win.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do it here. You gave her a cheap win that does not do anything to rehabilitate a very damaged character.
That she later gloated about.
And then you had her and Sasha Banks backstage with Kurt Angle, making it even worse. Because Bayley was really, really pleased with herself for getting a, quote, clean win that was not clean, and having a win last week on Raw in a tag match against, where she pinned Bliss, which wasn't particularly clean either. So we're still in that Bayley appears to be just not very intelligent, and I don't want to cheer for her. I want to cheer for the person playing Bayley because she is great, but I don't want to cheer for the character. So
Correct.
you are continuing to fail. And I also don't overly want to cheer for Sasha Banks off of this because she comes off as honestly kind of catty.
Yeah, I mean, she's the friend that comes down, it's like the friend you ask to help you move, and they do, and then they, for some reason or other, decide that they need to keep bringing it up. It's like, oh, I've been such a good friend,
Remember the time I helped you move?
Yeah, can you give me, another case of beer, because I helped you move that one time?
Yeah.
It seems to be that sort of thing, and I don't really understand it.
Yeah, so...
Unless they've been trying to turn her heel for over a year now, and it hasn't. They just can't.
They don't actually pull the trigger on the damn thing, though. They just turn her heel because she knows how to be a heel.
Yep.
This is not rocket science. It's just
you don't really have any
botched.
heels at the moment because people are cheering for Bliss and people are cheering for Nia Jax.
Well, Bliss got the appropriate heel reaction when she faced Banks at the pay-per-view, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But when she faces Bayley, she doesn't because Bayley's dead on delivery. Like this, probably the most mishandled character in WWE. Which,
at this point, you're having the pretty girl beat up the nerd. The vast majority of their audience is so insecure that that's what they want to see.
Well, it's not even that. It's that you're also seeing the pretty girl beat up the nerd who you don't like. That's the key. Is she doesn't even have the defining positive qualities of a nerd. She's not intelligent.
Yeah. That is true.
So, yeah, not working. So that was my first negative. Your negative? Outside of the commentary?
That was pretty much it. Everything else on the card was pretty ignorable, which is the best I can really say for it. The Hardys match was ignorable. They just kind of... They have the Revival up on the main roster, but they don't really because they're not letting them actually do tag team wrestling. It's just, I'm getting really tired of it. I mentioned when I was watching it, they don't have tag team matches anymore. They just have 4 guys that have individual matches for a while. But on NXT, they have great tag team matches, so I don't really get what the hell the deal is. And, what else was it's so ignorable I can't remember anything else that was not even on the.
I think you were more positive on some of this stuff than me then, because I have more.
It just it didn't fuel me with anger. It just fueled me with whatever else was on the internet because I couldn't really be bothered to pay that much attention. You had 3 hours. I thought 2 interview segments were good. None of the matches were good. That's... I'm honestly drawing a complete blank on what else might have been even on Raw, and I finished watching it maybe a couple of hours ago.
I got two more things I want to talk about. One that is straight up ugly, and then one that's kind of mixed, but it's a big enough thing that I think we should probably give thoughts on it. On the ugly side, we have Finn Balor versus Elias Samson.
Oh yeah, I forgot that happened. Why are they wasting Finn Balor's time? What the fuck?
Yeah, this sucked ass, and the fact that they ended it with a guitar shot. I immediately wrote, because of the guitar shot, we're getting more of this. But then Finn Balor, or the Bray Wyatt, came on the screen to talk to Finn. So, fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything crossed that this is over.
Well, actually, now that you mentioned it, I did have a thought at the time that hopefully the Drifter is going to be in the new Wyatt family. If there is, hopefully there is going to be a new Wyatt family, because that was some entertaining stuff.
Yeah, if he's going to stay heel, I'd prefer to reform the Wyatt family.
Yeah, and that goes back into my fantasy booking of the new Wyatt family, where you just have these other characters, archetypes from cults. So you have Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's been built up as this godlike figure. So you have Bray Wyatt, the god. He's the figurehead. You don't get to see him. You get to hear from him occasionally, but you don't get to see him or touch him, or you don't get near the guy. Then I would have Bo Dallas as Bo, or you can even just keep him as Bo Dallas. He doesn't need to be Bo Wyatt. He could just remain as Bo Dallas, and I'll just modify his current look, because he's kind of going for this kind of slick rock star kind of thing, and make him an evangelist. So
Saxo Rose, basically, at this point.
Yeah, so you make him the mouthpiece for the Godhead, and then you get the Drifter, who can be your minstrel of whatever, and spread songs of glory, and maybe you get a couple of other dudes in there just to be kind of roughneck. Well, you need a couple of roughnecks. Maybe throw Eric Rowan back in there, I suppose, but stuff like that. That's how I would handle it. I mean, I don't have any problems with Elias Samson Bebe. He's an acceptable wrestler with a gimmick that, I mean, to be honest with you, I've never listened to him do one of his little songy songs, because I got my fill of that with all of the other characters they've ever had to try and do that with, and it's always been bad.
A slight pro to his song gimmick is that I have actually listened to a couple of his songs, and they're not actually bad.
Fair enough.
Just the gimmick is a bad idea.
Yeah,
I'll give him credit over, say, Honky Tonk Man, whose songs were these are just bad songs. It's not even the gimmick's bad, these are terrible songs.
Honky Tonk didn't even do songs. I don't remember Honky Tonk doing songs.
He would sing his own theme.
Yeah, but he'd just come out and shake his hips and be fake Elvis, and that pissed everybody off.
Yeah. I mean, every sing-along is had no real musical talent. Elias Sampson's actually not a bad guitar player, and has a decent tone to his voice. So, if this was ever going to work, he probably was the guy to make it work, but it's failed so many times that I'm not interested in seeing you try.
Yeah.
And I'd be down with that. I mean, just as a tangent, I hate the Wyatt family breakup. Not because I think it should have never happened, because I don't have a problem with that, but you clearly didn't really have a plan what to do with the guys after the Wyatt family. You don't really seem to have a plan what to do with Bray. You definitely don't seem to have a plan to do with what to do with Harper, because he's not doing anything. Mm-hmm. And you don't have a plan to do anything with Rowan, because he's not doing anything. So why did you pull the pin on the grenade only to let it blow up in your hand?
Vince McMahon loves big sweaty men, and there's the biggest, sweatiest man of all, so he wanted all of the money. The problem is...
I don't even think that, because they haven't even really pushed Bray.
No, Braun.
Oh, yeah, but you took Braun away and then still had the Wyatt family, then they took apart the Wyatt family at the end.
Well, then I don't have an explanation for you.
Yeah, it's one of the most puzzling things I had, because you had something that was working, was doing well, and you destroyed it to create 3 singles acts that you are...
burying.
Not really doing anything with. I'd say I don't think you're per se burying Harper, for example. I think you're not using him enough to even bury him.
I think the last time I saw Harper, he got the shit kicked out of him by Rowan, and that's...
he had that match with Jinder Mahal.
Oh, yeah.
That's my thing. Is he's not even used enough to even say he's being buried. Like that's the thing. It's like I can't even figure out if they're angry with him because he's just not even being used. It's so bad. And Rowan's kind of in the same boat, and Bray's being really used, I guess, better right now because at least he is getting like some pinfall victories, but still not to the full potential of the character or the talent below it. Yeah. And like I said, you created 3 singles wrestlers. Note that I didn't say stars. And you killed your best stable. So that Randy Orton could get a House of Horrors match with Bray Wyatt and win a title. And,
possibly match of the year.
Yeah, this is all bad. And then lose the title to Jinder Mahal and feud pointlessly with Jinder.
Yep.
What the hell is this shit? So yeah, not really a fan of this. I kind of disagree. I think Elias is not really even a particularly good wrestler. He's being given matches with Finn Balor that I am bored by. Should not be possible.
Yeah, he's good enough. Again, he's good enough that I wasn't pissed off about the match. That's the best I can really say.
Then the last thing I'm going to rant on is the ending to the Samoa Joe Roman Reigns deal with Braun Strowman coming out. So
Samoa Joseph, baby.
The match. Did we even get a finish to that match? I honestly don't remember.
I was saying that out loud. I was going to, I don't remember a bell. Did they DQ this match?
So I don't think we even got a conclusion to the match, which number one I'm not terribly happy with. But okay, that's a small gripe. But the big gripe is so Roman Reigns less than 2 weeks ago, in fact 8 days ago, tried to murder Braun Strowman.
Correct.
Or at least try to seriously hurt him if we're going with he wasn't trying to kill him.
Also correct.
He is now back, looking really none the worse for the wear. Sure, he's got a bandage on his arm, but that's about it. He's not. He seems to be stronger than before, if anything, because he just took on Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns and kicked both the Samoans' asses.
Mm-hmm.
So you've completely deflated any heat you'd have off of the ambulance scene, which probably cost you money and really created a lot of ruckus.
Mm-hmm.
For what? Because apparently we're not even done with Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman as a feud.
He's not finished with you yet.
Yeah, apparently he's not done with Roman yet, and we're going back to that well. What? We had an ambulance match. What the hell is the blow-off supposed to be?
Yeah, they really should have used this as their opportunity to pull Roman off TV.
Exactly. Legal problems. WWE is providing him with the best legal counsel that we can provide him with.
Yeah.
We wish him the best. Like, perfect example. Or do the double turn with Roman going heel. So
yeah,
you had 2 pretty solid doors open, and it's like you came to a fork in the road where it's like, okay, we can keep going straight ahead. We can take a right turn. We can take a left turn. Oh, let's see, left turn. Well, the left turn provides us with a big money heel and a big money face because we could do Braun Strowman is a pretty big face. The right side is okay. We could try and rehabilitate Roman's character a little bit. Or we can go straight and stay the course. We stayed the course like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, at this point they're just putting spackle over a tumor, and you should really have it removed. Now that you brought up the whole legal angle, that would have been the hottest thing. We've had to suspend Roman Reigns. He under investigation for this, that, and the other. Don't even say that it's by a police department or just under investigation. Vague as shit. And so, but you keep having Roman pop up for random interview segment, not even interview segments, just clips off of YouTube. He's pissed off. He's like, I want that son of a bitch. Blah 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 blah. And then you've got your giant monster heel running around destroying everything, and no one can stop him. And this, that, and the other. And eventually, dude gets his shit straightened out, and eventually, and I'm talking about 5 or 6 months down the road, you fucking child, he said to Vince McMahon over the internet, you bring them together for a giant, huge collision for a lot of fucking money. Not next, 8 days later for nothing. Although I disagree. I did kind of enjoy the amount of smashing that was handed out. I sort of enjoyed seeing both Roman and Joe.
Oh no, I enjoyed that. I enjoy Braun Strowman being a monster. I'm just saying that from a storyline perspective, you've just taken your number 3 and number 4 best wrestler in the Raw roster, effectively, because you're fighting for a shot against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And you have had one man destroy both of them, and it's like, okay, so who's facing Brock? It's not these two.
All of them. There've been speculation that they're going to do a giant multi-man fuck match, and it's going to be one of two things. Either A, it's the easiest way you can get the title off Brock and not have him lose to a single man, or it's the easiest way to get the belt onto probably Joe.
But you've killed Joe's heat by having him get...
Well, yeah, but...
Like, Joe got his finishing hold on Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Full on his back, 280 pounds that they bill him at, and I swear he's actually probably heavier than that, to be honest. And, he, got his ass kicked.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with you one way or the other. It didn't really make a ton of sense, which is why I'm pretty convinced Vince was backstage. And... yeah, it's just speculation at this point. I assume that they're going to do it completely wrong, and they'll just have Brock Lesnar F5 all 3 other guys for at least 3 hours straight, and then sort of just nudge one of them to get the pin or something like that. And they probably will. They'll ruin all of any kind of work they've done with everybody else just to keep the belt on Brock, because they really want Roman to go into WrestleMania and suck all the dick, because he's going to suck all... If you thought it was bad this year, oh my god, a whole year just for Mr. Oh yay, another victory for Roman Reigns. The streak is alive.
They fell ass backwards into so many good options and didn't take any of them.
Correct.
Just terrible.
Also correct. I would have... If I was booking tonight's main event, it would have been just Joe goes over again. Nobody wants to stop seeing Joe versus Brock. Nobody wants that to end. Nobody.
I mean, at some point I'll want that to end, but, I mean,
Not
given
now.
the choices of Roman versus Brock or Joe versus Brock, Joe versus Brock. I've seen it once. Yeah. I need more.
Yeah, I saw 6 minutes of it, and it wasn't enough. And I saw...
But they botched that, too. Promos. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes. And... like, all of the promos leading up to it were the best. So, more of that. Not
like, and here's the thing: if you want your big coronation moment for Roman Reigns, right? I mean, we don't, but Vince does.
Yep.
And to be clear, that's not about Roman. I think there's money in Roman. I really do.
Yeah.
I think he's being tremendously misused.
He just needs some time away. He needs to not be on TV.
But if you take my brief legal idea that you have given further details to, you have him off TV dealing with legal issues, whatever. You have Braun Strowman come back, not now, months down the road, be a monster, and hell, even have him take out Brock Lesnar or get the title somehow. Then you could do a WrestleMania moment where Roman Reigns is coming back to Mania to face Braun Strowman. He's gonna finish what he started. He's gonna get that title. Suddenly, I haven't seen Roman Reigns in a real long time. Maybe I miss him. Maybe I don't. But you know what? It's fresh.
True.
And you can do that, and there's your crowning babyface going up against the monster and actually getting a win.
Yep.
But just everything they do with Roman Reigns is bad. Like, earlier on in the night, they had him do another big dog promo, and I'm like,
Get my yard.
Bad.
Get my yard. Me big dog, my yard, big dog.
It's like, I know Roman Reigns can cut an okay promo. Nothing great, but he can cut an okay promo. He can put on a good match. He's got a good look. He's big. He's strong. I assume he's a handsome dude. There's a lot of money there. that is being completely wasted.
Yep. Oh, one good thing I can point to for
and the problem is you're also killing off other potential stars in the process of trying to fail to push Roman.
Yes. See Finn Balor.
Mm.
The one other good thing I can point to is that you are correct with the Superman punch. When he pulled off the out of nowhere Superman punch, it was much better than watching him
it's fantastic.
Yank his crank for 93 years while squatting and dumping a load in the corner. So that was good. One other thing I'm going to put up to the top end of the meh category is the teased Shield reunion. Because I'm a little bit...
enjoyed parts of that and not other parts.
Well, see, that's why I'm putting it on the upper end of the meh category. This is the cream of the everything else. And part of that is probably because I didn't ever watch any of the Shield. Like, I was not watching wrestling at that point. So, it's intriguing to me on a couple of other levels that probably for you, if I'm assuming you watched it while it was happening.
Casually, yes.
Well, then you got to see a lot more of it than I did. So I'm intrigued about it more than probably you or anybody else watching at the time, unless you're a huge Shield mark. And there's an opportunity. I'd be happy
to see it just because I think they're misusing all three. So
there's an opportunity right now to reform the whole Shield because obviously Roman Reigns needs some backup. But they're not going to because it would make too much financial sense to do that.
I enjoyed some of that. I didn't really enjoy that, frankly. Rollins has not given Ambrose any reason to actually trust him after.
No.
To briefly explain, it's Rollins is the one that stabbed the Shield in the back with a chair to the back of Roman Reigns.
Yeah, and I like
the fact then to the head of Ambrose.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're slow playing it. There's not if there were some sort of immediate acceptance, I would have been very pissed off.
No, I would have been very pissed off by that, but I would have preferred Rollins Rollins is not really giving it any reason. Like, the closest thing he's like, all right, hit me in the back with a chair. I'm like, how does that remotely actually pay back for what you did? What
I really want is I need like 4 more weeks of that, of just small gestures, small things. Like, if you really want to hit me, and he didn't do it. So okay, cool. So we're on like step 1 of 7 or 8, and the next week he comes out and he is genuinely there to help in the 3-on-2. And things go semi-respectable, and Ambrose recognizes that fact. Okay, there's step 2. And then the next week they come out, and maybe Seth has to bite the bullet or take one for the team, and he does that, and again, Dean recognizes that, and there's step 3. And then we slowly rebuild a friendship. But I don't need this to happen next week. I don't need it to happen. How far away are we from SummerSlam? August 20th?
Something like that, yeah.
So they could do this between now and SummerSlam. Incrementally.
And I love that idea. I just wish that, like... My problem, I guess, is the Rollins character. He's not really approaching this in any way like he did anything wrong. It's kind of
he said he was sorry.
I didn't believe him.
Well, that's your own suspicious. Just because he's white, you're all suspicious of him.
No, that's not it at all. It's just like... I would prefer, like, if he's trying to justify things to a degree or anything, like, logic, motherfucker.
He's already done that.
He really hasn't.
He did that during Royal Rumble.
How did he... And okay, what was the specifics of that?
He fucking sold... He freely admits he sold out to the wrong guy. He was a puppet and all that stuff, and we went all over this, like, 6 months ago.
It's not an apology.
He apologized.
That's not an apology. It's not explaining it to Ambrose at all.
Well, I'm assuming Ambrose works there, and Ambrose.
You could at least have him like, I have changed. Nothing about him has changed.
I like the fact that he's not saying, "I've changed. Please accept me." I like the fact that he's.
Or give me a chance to prove that I have changed. Like, so far, it's like, hit me in the back with a chair when it doesn't matter.
That's what I like. Again, he's not saying things like, I don't need to hear people say things like this. I need something.
I really do.
That's what I'm saying. Do it small, week by week. I don't need a big, I'm sorry, hug fest.
No. I don't even need Ambrose to forgive him until, I could have that happen at SummerSlam.
But I skip over the hype packages because I've already seen that shit. I don't need Seth Edge to come out and go and rehash all of the stuff and the giant fucking promo he had about I was doing it all wrong and I sold myself out to the devil and he's been had all that.
I need that. I just need him to I need him to stop being a dick. What I mean by that is, okay, so remember when Rollins came out last week and saved Dean Ambrose?
Mm-hmm.
What was his response when Dean said, I don't need saving?
He wasn't there to save him.
Exactly. You're being a dick. And then you're like, well, hey look, what happened to like not sticking your nose in my business? I'm like, dude just saved you from getting a 3-on-1 beatdown at the end of Raw.
Yeah.
You should be like, dude, thank you for coming out there and helping me out.
Yep.
I know we're on the best of terms. Let's try and mend something. Boom.
Yeah, but Dean Ambrose is supposed to be crazy. He's not supposed to be logical.
No, I'm saying Rollins says that. Honestly, Ambrose can do whatever the hell he wants. Like that's kind of the beauty of Lunatic Fringe is that
fair enough.
He can be crazy.
I'm going to chalk. I agree with what you're saying, and I'm going to chalk it up to the fact that they only have 90 or 70 or maybe even 300,000 riders. So there's not enough brain cells to go around to come up with this logical type stuff.
It's like outside of Rollins offering to take a chair to the back, really he didn't do anything to suggest that he even wants to repair the relationship to a degree.
Well,
like like later on in the show, they're both talking about like Rollins is like, I just want to face the Miz. I just want to face Miz. Like there's no interest. Like there's no. All right, Ambrose, let's go take on the Miz.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to happen slower than that. I don't need, nor do I want anything like a direct offer of immediate partnership or friendship. What they're kind of doing it now, but they're doing it via a lot of sideways glances. And can I really trust this guy? Can I really trust this guy? This guy, like, I know this guy. This guy's fucking crazy. Well, I know this guy. This guy's a fucking dirtbag. So where do we go from here? And I really don't need any kind of like big overt gestures. I like the way that they're doing it here. I just keep on doing things a little bit at a time.
Also didn't care for Rollins' semi-justification of like, well, remember when you cashed in Money in the Bank on me? Mm-hmm. I remember that.
But again,
you had that coming.
I like that too. I like the fact that there's bad blood, that they're really addressing real.
I'm just saying there shouldn't even be any bad blood on that particular point. Like if you're Rollins and you're to a degree legitimately sorry for the whole Shield breakup, you're sorry for your time as a puppet. You truly did sell out to the wrong guy. You should be fucking happy that Ambrose cashed in Money in the Bank and took that title off of you and let you get free. Let you see the light.
Yeah, to a degree, and maybe in 3 or 4 weeks he does have that revelation. Like you can't expect real people to have that sort of inner clarity, let alone wrestling characters. So
I think you can. It's not like we're talking like that happened a week ago. Like we've had a couple of months to let that.
Yeah, but he's been
let that kind of sink in. Let him realize that I was doing evil fucking shit, which he was, and I can't really hold Ambrose accountable for cashing in Money in the Bank. Plus, it was a typical Money in the Bank cash in. It was really not even anything special about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a long time honored tradition, effectively.
Yeah, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't what's his nut Greasy Edge do the exact same thing, but to do it to Roman Reigns?
He did it to John Cena and Lesnar, actually.
Oh, I
and made it a 3-way between them. So it was a little bit different. Ambrose came out and cashed in after Rollins had a match.
Okay.
So
yeah, fair
sneakier,
enough.
Which, by the way, WWE, you're booking. The face was sneakier than the heel. Jesus Christ.
But, like I said, I enjoy the fact that they're not going overboard. I don't need, like, I kind of expected...
That's kind of what I mean, though. I think that was overboard. Like, he should have just not said anything about that.
Yeah, but I mean, they did similar... if I could point to the Shea Morrow feud into a tag team that was also still feuding, they didn't do that one particularly wrong, and it was a little ham-handed, but it ended up okay. So the worst fantasy booking I'm going to lay out here is that they just do this stupid thing, and that's it, and then they go their separate ways again and continue to not be cool.
I'd agree with that. They're both kind of dying on their own.
Yeah, so I would like another kind of feuding buddy segment that eventually turns into the reformation of something that will work for both guys. And if they keep doing this sort of thing for the next 5 or 6 weeks or whatever, until they reform at, say, officially, at SummerSlam, then, well, what they could do is, so they're doing this as faces, and so they do all that stuff, and there's now going to be a fatal four-way for the title at SummerSlam, apparently, just based on shenanigans, although they could book it however they want. So the Shield the duo Shield goes into SummerSlam as whatever, doing whatever against whoever. Maybe they're still feuding with The Miz at that point, which would be horrible.
Oh, God, no.
Just please pull Miz off TV, goddammit. And then they show up in the main event and fuck everybody up, and then the whole Shield is reformed with Roman with the title. As heels.
I prefer a reformation as faces, because to me the Shield as heels was kind of, it was your standard heel faction. I'm not really keen to revisit that per se.
Fair enough.
So I prefer the face option, but I see where you're going with that, and it is better than what we currently have. So
correct. So yeah, I'm just kind of A, spitballing, and B, it's something that they're actually developing characters. It's kind of weird and novel, and I like to encourage that kind of thing.
I like the idea, and I think I'm going to like where it eventually ends up. I just think some of the execution is sloppy as shit.
Yeah, it totally is, but that's based on the fact that, I mean, they only have 90 or maybe even 110,000 riders, so there's not enough time in the day to come up with these things.
Other than that, we had the Revival versus the Hardys. We've touched on that a little bit. I was okay on the match.
It wasn't great enough.
Bit of a botched up finish.
It was a standard Hardy match against any random tag team ever.
Pretty much. I did like the Revival's promo to hype up the match, though. It was good.
Yeah. It's like, why wouldn't we fucking beat him up? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know. I like that. I didn't like the intro, because, the intro was like, that's a dumb question.
Yeah.
And then we had a cruiserweight tag match, which did 0 for me. Wasn't bad, just not good.
Yeah.
Ollie and Gallagher went over.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a cruiserweight match between Tozawa and Daivari. I really enjoyed the pre-match stuff with the Titus crew. It was good.
Worldwide?
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Really good stuff.
I popped huge when everybody did the worldwide.
I even kind of like the idea that Titus is trying to save Akira from himself a little bit. I kind of like that.
And they reckon, like, Akira even, like, he's like, yeah, I see your point. I see where you're coming from. But then he's like, I still want that motherfucker next week.
Mm-hmm. But the downside is we're still getting Daivari versus Akira in matches that are not very good.
Yeah,
especially two actually pretty good wrestlers. So.
Especially because Akira has to sell his shoulder. Yay, another really good wrestler who is not allowed to wrestle now because he has to sell a kayfabe injury.
Yep. So Like I said, there's nothing about that is absolutely pissing me off. So it wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't a good.
Yeah, it was definitely ignorable. As soon as Tozawa started selling a shoulder injury, I just tuned out. I'm like, this is not going to be any good because he has to kayfabe up an injury, and then he's going to lose or something. The only thing that caught my attention, and I really didn't catch it, I didn't see what was happening. I didn't know that Titus had like thrown in the towel or whatever the fuck he did. I was genuinely confused because I was not paying attention.
I assumed we were getting some kind of fuck DQ or something.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm on board with the Titus Worldwide movement. I need some better booking.
Need better matches. Not even per se the booking, just better matches.
Which you can get if you stop making people kayfabe up injuries, you idiots.
So yeah, See, I was reasonably happy with the show up until the end, and then it dove off a cliff.
Yeah.
It didn't jump the shark; it jumped directly into the shark's mouth. So that was no good. So some good stuff going forward, but yeah, most of what were the positives was largely promo stuff. I don't really particularly. There's not really a storyline that I'm particularly digging. There are aspects of some storylines that I could see being very good.
You know who else needs to be in Titus Worldwide?
Ooh, who?
Ty Dillinger.
Oh. I can dig that.
Indeed. No, wait. No. I refute that. Deputy Dillinger needs to go still be...
I was going to say, yeah, we still have the Deputy Dillinger type deal that, obviously we need to have happen. We require that.
Indeed. They teased it. I was on board. They did a real good job. Ty did a really, really good job.
It is still just in general puzzling that you have probably the best in-ring roster that WWE has ever possessed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think probably is the right word. I think factually is. And we're getting arguably some of the worst actual in-ring wrestling I've seen since... you gotta go back to probably the mid-90s.
Well, early 2000s for me, because like I said, I keep harping on this all the time, but everybody only ever had one match, and I had to watch that one match every single week, no matter who the guy was wrestling.
I guess the thing that makes it okay for me on the early 2000s, at least there were a couple of guys who were liable to give you an interesting match, be it a Kurt Angle or a Benoit or an Eddie Guerrero or Rob Van Dam, which were kind of at least sprinkled in there. Right now,
that's true.
Literally no one is having particularly interesting matches.
No.
And they're also predictable.
Tozawa's about the only one, and now he's having to sell on fucking kayfabe injuries.
The thing is, Tozawa hasn't even really been having great matches since he got since the Kendrick feud ended.
No, that was a big coming out party. Really, his matches against, or has he had one or two matches against Neville?
He's had one solo match and a couple of tag affairs.
Okay. Well, the solo match was okay. It just wasn't great, and I think that chalks that up to just chemistry. So you need I need more matches.
No. The problem with their solo match when he got the title shot was largely that they ended up with the we need to sell the rope to the balls to the nth degree.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure why we split off into a Daivari feud that don't make
I'm kind of puzzled as to who's supposed to be going after the title now if it's not Tozawa, because you have a couple of feuds that in theory are going to set up a challenger, like Tozawa Daivari and also the feud with TJP and Rich Swann could result in the next title contender.
I'm wondering if
even the Gallagher versus Kendrick feud could potentially end up being that, but you have nothing for Neville to do right now.
Well, they just blew off the Cedric feud, so hopefully they blow off the Cedric feud. We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, that could be Cedric Alexander going for the title.
Yeah, that would make sense, and I would be behind that. But I feel bad for Tozawa just being kind of sidelined like that. That doesn't make sense. Everybody's real behind him. They're even putting him on a main roster faction. So
I think that's half the problem, though, is they feel like, in order to be interested in these cruiserweight guys, we got to give them deep line storylines. So we got to take them away from the title before we can actually put the title title on them. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not even remotely the case.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt, but it's not totally necessary. Also, have you noticed the last couple of weeks they have not turned the ropes purple?
I have noticed that, yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
It was intriguing. Which, frankly, probably a good thing, because apparently that kills the crowd when they do that, because it takes so long to set it up and stuff. So I'm all for that. Keep the purple ropes for its own show, but don't bother on Raw.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that was Raw, and we'll be doing SmackDown tomorrow, and hopefully SmackDown is better.
Indeed.
I said hopefully.
It
hasn't been lately now.
Yeah, they've been sucking real bad, although Raw doing what it did this week, maybe there's hope. They don't seem to have, other than, I think 1 week this year that I can think of, since we've been doing the podcast anyway, there's only been 1 week where both shows have been really good. It's only ever been one or the other. So, hopefully we don't have two stinkers.
No, we've had two stinkers before, so...
Yeah.
Cross your fingers, everybody.
Indeed.
So that's all we got. If you like the new format, leave comments. If you don't, also leave comments. And get off of Byron's lawn.
Yeah, man.